Today we're going to discuss the topic about Introduction to Control Structures. First, let us know what is the definition of control structure. A control structure is a block of programming that analyzes variables and chooses a direction in which to go based on given parameters. In Java statements, it usually executes program by sequential order, but sometimes within a statement to execute even though it's not the next in the line. It is called transfer of control. Java provides a number of control statements that let us specify a certain order of execution. There are three ways in executing a program using control structures: the sequence structure, selection structure, and the repetition structure. Let us first discuss the sequence structure. In sequence structure, it performs one or more action in sequence. Thus, the general requirement of this structure is that one or more action may be performed in sequence after entry or exit. There may not be any branches or loops between the entry and the exit. All actions must be taken in sequence. However, it is important to note that one or more of the action elements may themselves be sequence, selection, or loop structures. If each of the structures that make up the sequence has only one entry point and one exit point, each structures can be viewed as a single action element in a sequence of action. Obviously, it is the simplest of the three.
The second way in executing a program is the selection structures. In this case, the program executes particular statement depending on one or more conditions. This flowchart shows how selection structure works. If the condition is true, take one or more action in sequence. On false, take one or more actions in sequence and exit the structure. Remember that on a program, there's only one entry point and one exit point. Eventually, all of the actions for a chosen branch will be completed in a sequence and will exit the program. Java has three types of selection statements. First, one-way selection. Second, two-way selection. And the last, multiple-way selection. First, the one-way selection, an if statement. An if statement executes a single statement or a block of statement if a Boolean expression evaluates the true. Here's the flowchart. If the condition evaluates to true, then the statement is executed. If the condition evaluates to false, then the statement is skipped.
Hey guys, I'm here to discuss to you the two-way selection or the if-else statement. First, if the condition is true, you will execute the first statement before you go to end. And if it is false, you will execute another statement before you go to end. And that's the if-else selection structure or the two-way selection structure. The multiple-way selection structure or the if-else. The if-else is the three or more selection structure. In this flowchart, if the condition is true, you will execute the first statement. If it is false, you will make another condition. And if the condition is true, you will execute the second statement. And if the condition is false, you will make another condition. If the condition is true, you will execute the third statement. If it is false, if no one satisfies the condition based on the selection, there is a default statement before you go to end.
Next is the switch statement. Here's the flowchart. The statement block is executed if condition 1 is true. If not, we will go to the next condition. The statement block is executed if condition 2 is true. If not, you will go to condition n and process it. If it is not again, the statement block is executed if no condition is true or satisfied and will exit the program. Deciding whether to use an if statement or a switch statement is a judgmental call. You can decide which to use based on readability and other factors. Each case statement must be unique and the value provided to each case statement must be of the same data type as the data type returned by the expression provided to the switch statement. Another point of interest in the switch statement are the break statements after each case. The break statements cause control to break out of the switch and continue with the first statement following the switch. The break statements are necessary because case statements fall through. That is, without an explicit break, control will flow sequentially through subsequent case statements. You don't want control to flow from one case to the next, so you have to put in the break statements. However, there are certain scenarios when you do want control to proceed sequentially through the case statements.
Hi guys, now I'm discussing to you the repetition and the for loop. Repetition. The program repeats particular statement and contain number of times depending on one or more condition. The three types of repetition are for loop, while loop, and do while loop.
Now I'm discussing to you the for loop.
For loop, specialized form of while loop. Execution. Initial statement execute. Loop condition is evaluated.
If the condition is true, it is infinite loop. It is repeated loop condition is false, so it is infinite loop.
Here's the flow chart of for loop. If test condition is true, the loop body are executed. If not, the for loop gets exit and the next statement following it gets executed.
The while loop statement flow chart. Now I'm going to teach you. This is the area where you're gonna enter or initialize the codes. After initializing the code statement, you're gonna loop the condition. If your condition statement is true, the loop will be executed. If your loop statement is false, becomes false, it's gonna go in here, or to break. And this is the flowchart, the flow of the while loop statement. And then I'm gonna teach you the do while loop statement. The difference of do while loop, the statements goes first. After you enter the codes, and then the logical operation will be entered. Are we there? No. And then the condition will be executed.
Di kita siya sulat mo. Yan.
If the while loop is correct, not there, the looping statement will be repeated. Will be repeated to the statement or the body. Then your looping condition will be repeated until the condition becomes false. If your condition becomes false, it will end. False, or the end of the loop. That's all. Thank you.
At this point, we're going to discuss a different control statement corresponding to the three control structures. They can be combined to represent more complex scenarios. We can model each control statement as an activity diagram. Each has an initial state and final state. We can combine and connect control structures in two ways, by stacking and nesting. So let us first discuss the control statement stacking. We can connect the entry point of one activity diagram to the exit point of another. For example, here I have a sequence statement and a selection statement, and I would like to combine the two by stacking them. Notice how I connected the entry point of my selection statement to the exit point of the sequence statement. There is an overlapping area where the entry point or the exit point overlaps. This overlap is not needed in the diagram, so we're going to erase it. The second way to combine and connect control structures is by nesting them. So we can replace an instruction or action in one control statement with another statement. Here's the example. Here I have a sequence statement and a repetition statement. What I'm going to do is to replace the central action in my sequence statement with a whole activity diagram representing my repetition statement. So here's the result. You can see the central action. The second block of the sequence structure is replaced by the whole activity diagram representing the repetition statement.